So Khani was just telling us some of the early challenges in the developing of the shul and moving to Bell Harbor, which is so remarkable because now you go to Bell Harbor and Surfside, the whole area is just so Jewish. It's hard to even contemplate that you were the ones that created that environment, really.
Well, we there's a hotel here, just to tell you two very interesting little episodes. One, you see about the Rebbe's approach about making sure that you address simplicity, people of simplicity, you never know. Another is the fact that they said no Jews. There was a hotel here, and really they had a picture of the Rebbe, and I don't want to tell you what other animals there were on there. It was really nasty. So that no Jews, no blacks. It happens to be that a Jew is the mayor of Bell Harbor. A black man, black American is the chief of police of Bell Harbor. So
Wow.
it's really transformative.
Unbelievable.
Very
And this
interesting.
is what in a period of 30, 40 years. That's it, right?
39 years.
Wow.
Just to give you just a nice, interesting perspective, we didn't have a minyan every morning because people here were not interested in a minyan. We had to first teach them that it's important to pray. We're moving with people that are on their way out, and we're trying to bring in so it's turning them around and then taking them on a trip. So we didn't have a minyan during the week. We had a big minyan on Shabbos, but not during the week. Primarily, I think the initial advantage of Shabbos was the Kiddush. They loved Kiddush. Cholent. Was key. Honey makes a great cholent. So it was the best. They used to call it chile, the Cuban waiter. In any case, so I needed a minyan to say Kaddish. It happens to be, my father passed away. I needed a minyan to say Kaddish. We were in this little place, and we didn't have a minyan. I had we used to daven every morning at 7:30. We used to daven whether it's one person, two people, five people, six people. We just pray together. I needed a minyan. There was no minyan. So what we used to do if we needed a minyan, if somebody needed to say Kaddish, we would call the taxi company, and we would ask them to send a Jewish cab driver.
Funny.
And he would park and say, "Keep the meter running." There's some gas, and we were always successful that way. One guy, two guys, we had two taxis parked out there. One taxi. This particular day in the summertime, the place used to slow down because this was a winter retreat, and there was no Jewish taxi drivers, nothing to available, and the seats were empty. All of a sudden, I see this elderly guy, in the old days, those plaid pants made out of polyester with a green shirt, with these little plastic things in their pocket with 12 pens, and his cap. And he's walking with a stick. I said, "Excuse me, sir, are you Jewish?" He said, "What is your business?"
So you knew.
I need a Jewish person. He said, "I don't believe in that stuff. I don't believe in any of that." I said, please. I had 9 people already. I happened to get some friends of mine to come. And he said, "I don't believe in it. I'm not going." I talked to him about dollars. I'm going to eat breakfast. Anyways, I go back in and people had to go to work. And so they said, "Rabbi, we can't go." So I go with my tallis and I go to the corner store where he's eating breakfast. This guy, he's eating breakfast and he's sitting there with his cap off. And I said, "Sir," he looks at me, he said, "I told you I don't believe in it." I said, "I must have you." I said, "I just need you. Don't have to believe in it. I just have to be there."
Right.
He says, "I already ordered breakfast. You know what I ordered?" He said, "I ordered pork and ham, bacon, and eggs."
Right.
So I said, "Boy," he wanted to tell me how much he doesn't believe.
Right. Of course.
So I said, "How much did you pay for it?" He said, "I paid $5 for it." So I take $5 out of my pocket. I put it down on the table. And the guy looks at me. He says, "Boy, this is worth $5 to you."
Wow.
I'm
Wow.
coming. That's what he says. If it's worth $5 to you, I'm coming. But he says, first time in my life I ever bought bacon and eggs, to tell you the truth, but I paid for a bacon and egg breakfast. He comes with me, and on the way he says to me, "Don't give me no stuff. I don't want no prayer, but nothing. I said, "No, I just need a nice Jewish warm body. That's all I need."
Wow.
It comes to make a long story short, and we could go on with detail, the man ended up giving us our first $1 million.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
And more than that, though, he became a real Baal Tshuva. He started to put on tefillin every day. When he first put them on, my husband said to him that those tefillin look like a crown on your head. And one day they were looking for him. There's an elderly gentleman, and they couldn't find him. So my husband says, I think I know where he is. And he went off to the men's room, and there he was standing and looking at himself in the mirror. And he says, you know, Rabbi, it does look like a crown on my head.
Wow.
And slowly became a Baal Tshuva. And before he passed away, we thought he didn't have any money at all. We thought we were going to have to help him financially. That's the way he looked, and that's the way he spoke. And he lived not in a very elegant building. And he brought out all his passbooks, all his little 2,000 in each one or whatever, and he left in his will $1 million for the shul. They were able to actually start with that.
Wow, that's incredible.
One Jewish neshama,
you never know. And it seems like the shul has a way of, like, how many people are affiliated now with the shul?
The people around me generally telling you the truth. Particularly our president at that time, he would say to me, Rabbi, why are you wasting time with this Jew? He said, what are you wasting time with? I said, he makes my minion. He says, I need him for Kaddish. He says, yeah, but he's a waste of time. So for the high holy days, we would have like Shabbos, we were proud, and we'd have 100 people. High holy days would have 500 people.
Wow.
We had to go into a hotel. Right. So we needed books. I didn't have any money. So I said to the president, he says, we don't have no money for books. But, shluchim, we just went out and ordered books.
Right.
So said, we'll get it. We'll find money for it. So I ordered all the books. And I bring this man in for the first time. He comes to the high holy day services. He looks around. He says, those books. He says, those nice books. He says, yeah. And he said, who paid for them? I said, they're not paid for yet. He says, yes, they are.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That's a lot of money. He says, they're paid for it right after the holiday. So I run over to the president. I said, by the way, the books have been paid for. He said, who paid for them? I said, that guy. From that morning on, hello, good morning. So the guy used to wink at me. He said,